There's 12 checks there. Well, I should be more specific. There's 8 checks there when you have just Zora, and if you get Goron, then there's another 4. So that in total is 12 checks in a very short amount of time, and it's very, very useful to have. So, but yeah, I think Icona is going to be the thing I do first, just because I need to do it, and I also want to kill time for the all-night mass check. I'm still a little bit sus about that bow, so we'll just see how it plays out.
Wait, what was... Oh, it's... I guess we don't know because we don't have Bunny Hood, but you have Zora now, which could have also shot down Tingle, but if we don't know where Bunny Hood is, then I guess we can't, like, rule that out.
Yeah, exactly. And at this point, I'm basically out of things to do that don't require a bow, so, or other projectile. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything I have left that's not locked by bow in some capacity.
Yeah, except for, like, All Night's Mask. Did you do the couples mask, like, heart piece?
No, not yet, but that was also, that was locked by a projectile as well, so.
Oh yeah, right, Tingle had that as well.
So we'll go up here. So Iconic Graveyard is Way of the Hero, but I can't do anything there without either Captain's Hat, Knot of Awakening, or Bombs. One of those 3 things will get.
Whether you know it or not, you have a brand, and we have discs. Let's put them together and make something really cool. We've got plenty of discs and are ready to stamp or Dimax them however you'd like.
Give me access to stuff to do there. So for now, I'm just going to read this hintstone and press on. That's just a repeat of another hint we got earlier. Every hint in the game is going to be repeated twice, so eventually I'm going to reach a point where I don't need to read hints anymore because they're all just going to be the same ones I've read already. In fact, I think I'm missing 1 foolish hint, I'm missing 1 always hint, and 1 sometimes hint, which I won't get too into, but essentially we just divide up hints into different categories, and I know how many of each I'm going to get every single seed. We do have beans for Dog Roof, yes. That's something I'll have to do later on. I might have been able to check Ranch that last cycle, but I don't particularly care that much.
We'll get there eventually,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Who rolled this seed?
So,
I did. I was the seed roller. I'm to blame for whatever this seed throws at us.
Yeah, now we're getting close to the hour mark, close to our first break. And how are you feeling about the seed overall?
So far, the fact that that letter to Cafe led to an actual item and it's not going to be, you know, just some wild goose chase that I'm going to have to deal with is very reassuring to me.
Yeah.
I guess before we go to the break, I'll list off the required items for the seed. I'm absolutely going to need Deku and Goron Mask. I'm 100% going to need fire arrows and light arrows. And then I might need a certain set of song items. What is this? Hey, Deku Mask is right there.
Oh, nice!
Now I'm feeling even better.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, just very briefly to explain how the way that songs work in these settings. The songs are shuffled among themselves, so I'm only going to find a song where like a song would normally show up in the game, right? So, you know, I go to Deku Palace, you get Sonata of Awakening there normally. That check is going to have a shuffled song in it. There are 3 songs in the game that are locked by specific items, those being the Powder Keg for the Ranch song, Captain's Hat for the Graveyard song, and Mirror Shield for the Iconic Castle song. This means that any seed that you play is going to have certain items, like basically one seed you might need Keg and Captain's Hat, another seed you might need all 3, another seed you might just need Mirror Shield, for example. So I don't know which one of them I'm going to need, but those 3 items are going to be very important for getting songs later on. Yeah, let's go to Deku Palace.
Nice, see what that monkey's got.
Fruit. Yeah, that's going to be the second song we got. We already got Goron Lullaby, which is good. The songs to watch out for are Storms and Healing. Those are the two songs in the game that are not required to beat the seed. So if I see any of those, it means I'm going to need at least one more of those song items that I just mentioned. So like by default, you need one, but as soon as you find Healing, oh, speaking of, there's one of them right there.
My goodness.
The Powder Keg is another one that will get me a song, but unfortunately, I can't check that one without Goron as well to lift the keg, but it's fine. It's always a good thing to find a keg.
Yeah, we're not doing Swamp Spider House. We got a hint that said the reward is not important. And none of the skulls are shuffled in these settings, so just skipping that.
Yep.
And Via, how about after we clear the palace, we can go into our first break? I feel like that'd be a good pause point.
Sure.
Nice little trick
Whoa,
there.
That was so cool.
If I had bombs here, I could do damage boost to get over these fences, but unfortunately I don't, so I'm gonna have to do this the normal way, the slow way. Let's see here. Don't bother with that. There's a little skip here to get across the up here without having to do the whole bean side quest. Saved a bunch of time.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I gotta wait here. Cycle's not great. This ledge here, this ledge is one of the best coded ledges in N64 history. If you watch here, right about here, I can just go for it, rub against it, and it just clips me up.
Yeah, love it.
Perfect. Song here.
Usually things don't work that way in this era.
Oh my god. Elegy, nice.
Yeah. So that is another one of the required songs that I'm going to need. So that is good. Good to see that.
Is one transformation climb on in this?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
That is
so
something we changed.
You could go into Stone Tower, but you can do I wouldn't without Mirror Shield or Light Arrows or something, but
yeah.
Wait, there could be like in that first room on the left, like after the maze. If this seed's really mean.
This is why I like having bombs, so I can just skip over all of the guards and not have to deal with RNG.
Yeah,
are they completely random how they behave?
Yes, they are completely random. You can kind of understand like how their movement works. Like they will either like go along like one direction of their path, and then either they'll turn and keep going immediately, or they'll stop for at least 2 or 3 seconds before they start going again. So if they stop for a little bit, you're always going to know that you have like a little bit of a window to go. But if they turn right away, then there's just nothing you can do about that. Our container. And then the best character, best NPC in the game, we have Bean Daddy here. All my homies love Bean Daddy. Alright, so that is going to do it for Deku Palace. So I think we are ready to go into our first little break.
Yes, we are. So let's go ahead and pause the timer in 3, 2, 1. Pause. All right, everybody, we are going into our...
I like the Napster story. I would like you to tell that.
Are those the old MP3s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that...
Not MP3s, but you could share audio files, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So the idea was like peer-to-peer sharing. So you'd have a program on your computer, and then you have like a folder that you would share with people. And then basically your entire folder was like open to be searched for on the Napster platform. So the way that people sort of like got things to spread on Napster was you would do like a makeshift version of like tags. So you would name the MP3 like what it's called, and then you would put in parentheses like comedy, funny, parody, whatever, you know, like just as much information as you possibly could. So you get these fucking absurdly long named MP3s. Early on, I was downloading a lot of comedy bits off of Napster that I didn't realize were from like radio shows that existed like for the sole purpose of making bits, right?
I definitely did that same thing. Like in terms of, finding funny songs or funny bits or like anything that I didn't know what the origin of it was, but it was just shared to me via that method. Or like, for me, it was LimeWire.
Yeah.
But then it was like, that's something maybe I'd take to school, or like I would download on my iPod and I'd show people.
Yeah, it's just like, this is a funny thing, right? It's like, oh, it must have been just some guy who made it. And it's like, no, it was a fucking team of comedians that worked for
such
some...
a strange like spread of information.
But it gave the sense that there were people on the platform who were making like just comedy in their bedroom. So I started doing that with just like a little shitty microphone I had. So I was making like video game parodies and like anime parodies and stuff, and I would name them like, you know, I called them Ego and Company because I was Ego Raptor back then.
What company, as in the company, or as
I don't know,
friends?
just for some reason I was like, Ego Company, that's a cool name.
People want some people to think that
it's like, oh, there's like a whole troop, dude.
Yeah, you did Dragon Ball Z in a nutshell.
Yeah, so yeah, Dragon Ball Z in a nutshell, and then like
that's like one of the earliest like animations and memes I can remember. Yeah,
I think that's also a good part of this story that you didn't animate that.
Yes. Well, I made that when I was 13 years old. And I sped it up. It was like a sped up voice or whatever. And then I distributed it on Napster. So I make that MP3, Ego and Company, DBZ in a nutshell, and then I would have parentheses like comedy, parody, funny, whatever. And then after a couple months of having that available on my Napster, I just got curious and I was like, yo, does anybody else have these? And I searched Ego and Company and it got like hundreds of results. And I was like, yo, people are fucking downloading my comedy. That's crazy. But anyway, one day I just was an avid Newgrounds before Newgrounds even existed.
This is like what, like 2 years later?
I don't know exactly how long. I'm so terrible with time. But it was definitely like a while after like I stopped making Ego and Company stuff, and I saw Dragon Ball Z in a nutshell was like the top of the Newgrounds portal, and I was like, yo, that's my thing. And I've never been
someone just re-uploaded it.
Well, they made it
because it was audio. Yeah. He didn't animate it, so his thing was audio.
Oh, so you didn't make the animation, someone else did.
Yes.
Okay, because I know it from the animation.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It actually got misattributed to Richard Horvitz for a while because it was somebody renamed it like Invader Zim does DBZ or something.
Is it true that like once that happened, you looked with that title and found there was more results?
Yes, that's right. When I looked up Zim does DBZ, I got like way more hits.
Were you just like, damn, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing?
Well, it's funny because like, I don't know, I see a lot of artists now are getting huge about like credit and stuff, and like I think that's totally valid and everybody should follow however they feel about that, but I just was never that guy. So I was just like happy that people were listening to my shit. When that cartoon got made on Newgrounds, DBZ in a nutshell, and it was like #1 on the portal, I was like, that's awesome. Like, whoa, this guy made a thing. And so I messaged him on Newgrounds and I was like, yo, I made that audio and that's sauce. And immediately he was like, yo, I'm sorry, I'll take it down. It's no big deal, like whatever. And I was like, no, I'm happy. This is awesome. This is so cool.
It's lucky that you found someone that was like that and was happy to share that with other one and give you credit, because back then when something like that would happen, they'd be like, fuck you. Like,
I think that would happen now too.
Yeah, to an extent, but then the internet comes in. But back then it was really hard to get credit for stuff and kind of find a source for where the material actually came from.
It was also so fringe too. It felt like, you know, why would anybody lie about something like that?
Right.
It's such a small...
that's a point in time that's hard to even imagine now, because like at that point,
I'm gonna lie about this thing 10,000 people have seen.
This is exactly. This is all shit that you're coming in to see. It's like the club is so small.
Yeah.
Where now there's like, the bigger it gets, there's more things that make sense for people to lie about certain things. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So that guy, Channel Cat, is it?
Yeah, I just saw him like a couple days ago.
Really?
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah, still like a lovely dude. He's awesome. He lives in LA.
So great that you've maintained those relationships with people from the very start. I think
good dude.
With early internet, and there was always a joke from my parents, like, go out and meet someone, but with the internet you got to choose your friends, and the people that you chose so early on in such a new space, the internet.
Oh yeah,
like your friends for life, because like if you didn't like them, you could just fucking not talk to them.
To some degree. I mean, there were some early friends where I remember the first person I ever met from the internet. I was very young.
Oh no. How young?
I don't know. I was like
just like teenager,
15 or something.
Yeah. Okay.
But we went and saw Mystery Men together. It was the first person from the internet I've ever met. So I was like, I gotta look cool. So I remember I was like at the movie theater and I was like, I had like sunglasses on and I was like like leaning against the wall, like, I hope he sees me and thinks I'm so fucking cool. And then he like comes up, he's like, hey, and he just looks like a nerd, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? And then we saw Mystery Man and just like didn't talk.
Did you drop your like facade at that point? You're like,
well, I mean, I was like so nervous the whole time, and then like I went home and like we chatted on AIM, and I was like, those cool anyway. And I don't think I ever talked to him ever again.
You didn't say anything to each other personally. Like, man, that movie was so sick.
Well, I had no idea like how to fucking socialize back then, you know.
I do remember talking like that on like MSN and shit, and then at school or something, or like to a girl, and then the next day it's like unable to speak properly.
MSN was like my high school. You go home, your girlfriend, you wouldn't do anything, maybe hold her hand at school, and then at home you get home, you'd be like, I love you so much. Yeah, it's just, hearts emoji. Yeah,
why didn't you? You know,
yes.
like,
next time. I really want to meet heaps of people I met online, but I know I live so rural in a place where like nobody was.
Oh, you're telling me you grew up on a farm?
Yeah, and like lots of animals, cattle farms and stuff like that. Shit into that. Like I grew up on such bad internet. My introduction to everything online was Newgrounds. Like I remember one of the first videos I saw was from Ed Gould, Ed's World.
Yeah,
rest in peace. He was like the first animator I saw. And
well, so that's the reason why Flash was so prolific back then, was because those videos are vector based, which is so much easier to, it's not rasterized. It's not like pixel, pixel, pixel. It's like little points on a grid. So those Flash files are super, super low quality. You can download them in like a second. That's why it was so prolific. So like you could have dial up and still like watch Newgrounds videos like it was nothing.
Or play Flash games
as
well.
Do you think that attributed to the success
100%
of it at the time?
Absolutely.
It's so strange to me. It blows my mind every time when I see how long Newgrounds was around before something like YouTube. Like user-based submitted content.
They were the first
is like
portal.
Insane at that time.
Yeah, they invented the idea of like submitting something to put on a website and it just goes up.
You used to get blammed when...
That's right.
Yeah, what was it? If you got downvoted enough on a submission, it would be terminated from the site completely.
Really? I didn't know that.
It was like user control.
Yeah, it was like self-policing.
Did you make any games, or did you just solely?
I tried to. Yeah, I was working on a lot of different games, but none of them came out. Yeah, I have never actually published a game that I have like directed.
Well, we saw some at the show that we went to. You guys have had games for your live show.
Yeah, that's right.
Which
is pretty cool.
Was actually really cool. Actually, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess those were designed by me, but like they're rip-offs of other games.
Right. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. Everything takes inspiration from something.
Yeah. Because the first thing we did for Game Grumps Live was we were doing Mario Maker at the time, and that was really popular. Ross had made 2 unique Mario Maker stages for Game Grumps Live. So we did 2 shows at the Hollywood Improv, where one of them was one level and the other one was another level, I think. And we just went up on stage and played Mario Maker, and we were like, let's just see how it goes. But the most fun part about it was, you know, it's a room with like 100 people. There were some people that like brought like weird things to like hold up and stuff, and so we just started like talking to people because they were just right up on the stage, right? And we like brought a couple people up, and we were just like, oh, why don't you fucking beat it, you know? And they'd come up and they'd try to play. And we were like, the most fun part of that show was talking to the audience, like bringing audience members up. So we need to do a show where we do that if we're gonna like take it on tour.
It was great. You divided up the teams. There was like a competitive thing about it. I had a really good time. When I think of YouTubers show, I'm like, I kind of go into them pretty negatively just because I'm kind of groaner, like, oh, I just do backflip.
Yeah,
but I had a lot of fun. Like, I think, you know, Silas and Griff was sitting there going like, man, Chad, you were really getting into it. I was having a fucking great time. You know? I don't know. That was good fun. The energy was great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Also, we got this.
Somebody gave you a dirty Sonic.
Sonic. We said we'd put it on set, so.
Oh yeah. Whoever's watching, here it is. I need a piss.
I need a piss too. Put a pin there? But I need to ask why all your audience is so horny for Sonic.
Okay.
You guys will
talk about that.
Before we did a piss break, we brought out the Sonic. There was one massive theme at your show. Why are all your fans so horny for Sonic? And why were you asking people up the top, which Sonic character would you fuck? And what's all the furry shit?
The Sonic stuff, I feel like if Game Grumps was this like fucking global thing that everybody knew, you could write a book on the Sonic situation with Game Grumps, because I find it so fascinating. I have a unique relationship with Sonic in that I literally don't like a single Sonic game, and yet Sonic is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I think it's so much fun and Sonic as a character is so much fun, and he's so iconic, and all the characters are great. I think